Rickety Mark Haynes.
This show is infamous as one of the worst wrestling shows of all time. Great American Bash 1991.
Yes.
7,000 people, 5,500 paid. That means 1,500 free tickets.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get the free tickets. I think on the day, if you were just local, they'd go, can you please take these?
Mark, they literally showed you at the start. You just walk in, you say...
You do.
The whole opening, it's so good.
It was like VR, wasn't it?
It was like the start of Police Squad, where the car drives everywhere, and he walks up to the box office.
Two tickets, please.
2 tickets, please. Doesn't say where the other tickets are going. Doesn't put any money down. He just gets given the ticket. The guy goes, "Enjoy the show," and he goes in, and then it's just the great.
Oh, it's great. It's the Baltimore Arena. They have a lovely bit actually as he goes in where they've got two women. And they've got the two women. And I was a bit like, why didn't they tell them to move out the way?
No, they really didn't, did they?
But then I realised, 1991, they are like eye candy. You'd be sitting at home and you'd be going, who are those two hot potatoes?
In shell suits.
Oh, frizzly hair.
Mullet club.
It's a guy who's not only in double denim, I think he's in double white denim.
Yes.
You just see him walk past and it's just like, every single person I feel could be the key to solving the Zodiac murders. In that opening video, it's him.
Unabomber. 50,000 Unabombers in this auditorium.
So what do we see? The first thing, there's a sign being held up and it says, "Where's Flair?" Yeah.
People want to know where Ric Flair is.
This is this is supposed to be a new start. And what this is really the last gasp and scream of the previous bit.
You're right.
This show was not supposed to be like this.
You're kidding me. What?
Having watched
it,
the main event would have been Ric Flair versus Lex Luger.
Okay.
For the WCW World Championship title. Now, it all goes wrong. Because Ric Flair is on the outs with WCW. He's holding the belt. He's the WCW champion. What happens is the guy who was in charge of WCW, Jim Herd, and he says to Ric Flair, I want to cut your salary in half.
Right.
Will you take a £350,000 pay cut?
I mean, it's an interesting gambit, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Ric Flair says... absolutely not. I believe Jim Herd says, right, well, you're gone.
Right.
You know, we're going to fire you. Ric Flair says that's absolutely fine. He says, I will take the belt with me because I put up a retainer of 25 grand many years ago and I want the retainer back plus interest. Jim Herd says to him, go fuck yourself. Ric Flair says, fine. So at this point, it's all fallen apart. To WCW's credit, they actually did not worry about Flair going. Most of the fans thought in this event that Ric Flair would make a return.
Right.
He hadn't yet debuted in WWE.
Yeah.
No one knew he was going to go there. And what happens here is WCW made the decision that they wouldn't confiscate signs that people were holding up saying, we want Flair.
Right.
I think that was the idea of going, well, if he does come back, this is good. We can do something with it.
Yeah.
What's funny about this is there were some signs that were destroyed. They're ripped up by security. It's if they said anything negative about Dusty Rhodes, who was the booker.
Nice.
They were all done. Dusty Rhodes, who was all over the other ones, oddly isn't over these. This was seen as being the show that all the worst things about it were the things that people feared Dusty Rhodes would do. Angles that didn't make sense, things that were promised and weren't delivered, confusion about titles, nepotism, and getting himself over. And all of those things happened. Brilliantly, Dusty Rhodes gave himself a segment on WCW TV that is regarded as being one of the worst examples of when he was really, really sort of greedy for... He would bring talent on, but he would big himself up more, and they would also big him up. And you just watch it, and what happened is Jim Herd, who was, the guy behind the firing, if you like, of Ric Flair, had seen this and gone, maybe this guy is a monster. And Dusty had become a bit of a monster.
Very special day for Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Because standing here with me today at 6'5" and 240 pounds, now ain't all filled out yet, you know what I mean? And he's green behind the ears, but at 18 years old, right out of high school, a great amateur wrestler and a great football player, I want to introduce you to Dustin Rhodes. This is my son. And the legacy of the American Dream lives in this kid's heart.
This is the scaffold match between PN News and beautiful Bobby Eaton versus the television champion, stunning Steve Austin, with Lady Blossom and Terence Taylor.
Mark, why did they start with this.
This is, I would say, as bad a match as you will ever watch in any wrestling show ever.
It's not even a match.
No.
It's
That is true.
Someone's hacked the ROM. Someone's kind of changed the ROM to do something different.
This is a perfect example of going, this is not only dangerous, it's shit. And so for the people involved, it's really, really dangerous. And for the people watching, you just go, this is shit.
You don't even see people walking along scaffolding. Like people who are building scaffolding.
No.
Don't walk this timidly across scaffolding.
No. What's even better about this, and this is typical Dusty.
It's astonishing, Mark.
There are too many different speciality matches on this.
Right.
But this is also the first scaffold match. How would you think a scaffold match ended?
With someone falling off the scaffolding.
In wrestling, a scaffold match, which is a rare fucking match.
Yeah, because they're incredibly... Yeah.
A scaffold match, there is no point it being on a scaffold if the object is to grab your opponent's flag and then just walk it back to your side.
Yeah.
That could happen in a ring. There doesn't need to be in a scaffold. If you show me a scaffold, do you know what I'm going to think? I'm going to see someone get thrown off.
Yeah.
They didn't mention until the night, as they welcome him to the ring, that the scaffold match had this flag rule.
Yeah.
You can either win by throwing your opponent 30 feet into a hard ring.
Yeah.
Or by getting a flag and taking it to the other.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen when they introduce that rule? I would have loved it if they'd have done that and they'd spent 5 minutes explaining the flags and then one of them had just fallen off. You'd be like, you didn't see that coming, did you? You thought we'd bottled it.
And the flag goes to his stomach.
Wrestling Observer, again, it's worth saying, they called this among the worst matches in the history of pay-per-view television. It's not a match.
It's outside the confines of what a match represents.
Completely. I will say,
crawling.
This is the most dangerous contraption I've ever seen in my life. And when they move on it, even not in an exaggerated way, it fucking jiggers from side to side and it shakes and it wobbles.
And you've got crowds to think about as well.
But I think that this is Steve Austin's first pay-per-view in WCW. You've come over from the USWA, you want to make a good impression, and you are like, this is plywood. This is absolutely, this is the first scaffold match with a plywood base, a wood top. They used to have the steel that would cut the back. It would really lacerate the backs of the opponents. So this might not be as good as far as traction is concerned, but it really helps the skin a lot. Says fucking Tony Schiavone as he does it.
Good lord.
Plywood A is better for your back.
Yeah.
There's a whole different raft of problems.
Not if you go through it.
Absolutely. I tell you what, there is absolutely no way in hell that was not just a fucking death trap waiting to happen. It's so narrow. It's about 4 foot wide.
It really is.
They also put up there Steve Austin, Bobby Eaton and Terence Taylor. All three of those people could have had a good singles match. Instead, they go, let's have a non-wrestling thing. Let's change the rules and let's introduce into it PN News, who is a really big fat bloke who is absolutely not going to fall off, B, not really going to be able to stay on.
No.
And see, he had no reason to be there.
PN News is instantly crawling on the floor like a slug.
Yes.
Immediately.
There's a bit right at the end where he is on Terence Taylor and he obviously is too nervous to sort of move and he just lies on him immobile and it's sort of like a disgusting erotic tableau and Terry Taylor is just lying underneath him, just not moving because there's nowhere to go.
No.
And the two of them are just there still.
Yeah.
Lying.
I thought at one point someone might hang off and jump into the ring.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Terence Taylor does right at the end as they're walking down. He makes the attempt and the crowd give him nothing. They're just like, don't fucking try it.
We're going to watch this scaffolding get torn down for ages.
They built it. How long it took to build it to do that. Even the guy doing the scaffold was like, why don't I fucking bother? And they're like, you're paid. He was like, I'm not sure it's just about money, you know? And it's just stupid. The sign on the marquee says wrestling. It doesn't say falling off scaffolding. Maybe if it did, you'd get bigger crowds. But PN News was not by any means a good wrestler, but he was fat. And in 1991, that was enough.
That's all it took. Look, a bit of light and shade.
He is the cousin of the mid-90s WWF wabsurd wrestler Mantor, who was the Minotaur.
Okay, right.
He was also not a good wrestler, but was also fat. And in 1995, that was enough. My favourite little story about him is very shortly after this match, PN News inadvertently injured a guy called Dave Sheldon. PN News had a finishing move called the Broken Record, where he would just jump. It was a splash, like anyone would do, like a child could manage. And he missed Dave Sheldon's torso, and he landed on Dave Sheldon's knees. And Dave Sheldon needed almost a year off to recover from a fat man splashing his knees, right? What this little bit is here is this is one of Dusty Rhodes' episodes of the Bull Drop-In.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And this is him introducing PN News. Now, Pete, all I'm going to say is you are not just going to hear PN News rap. You are going to hear what some people would call the original rapper. You're going to hear Dusty Rhodes absolutely dominate this section. It is such a masterclass in why, and I've always found this difficult to understand, why so many people really rankled and took umbrage with Dusty Rhodes as a booker. Honestly, this 2-minute bit will sum it up entirely. Here's the Bull Drop-In.
And we talking about the rap master. We talking about Mr. P.N. News. Come on out and get it, baby. Yeah, everybody get up here. We talking about the brothers and the sisters. Tell them about it, baby. It's about being right here with the original rap master, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? Would you do something for me tonight? Right here on the Bull Drop-In, I want you to get up here and do one of your rap songs. Will you do that for me? We want to hear one of your rap songs. Can everybody say yeah? Okay, baby. Yo, cue the jam. Put your hands together. So put your hands together for PN News with my posse and me. We just can't lose when the shoulders go down. 1, 2, 3. The ones left standing are my posse and me. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. Can I try one time? Yeah, go ahead. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. Whoa, thank you, baby. All right, I'm gonna see you later, okay? All right. Yeah, let's hear it for PN News.
Oh, he did the easy bit, didn't he?
Didn't he?
Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo.
I mean, is it rap? Is it really rap?
Because he starts and it sounds like it, but then he's in the labyrinth of words there. He gets
very
terribly stuck.
My posse and me. It's a 1, 2, 3, and the winners on my posse and me. It's amazing. That is Dusty Rhodes at his absolute worst. He's so. The bit where he sort of goes, I got more moves than a bowl of jello. What do you say about me before I retired? I put aside some of my business.
I'll tell you about, I've been watching you, baby, and in the ring, you can get it done. You got more moves than a bowl of jello. There you say that about me before I retired. Step back from my business.
Dusty Rhodes would continually make hints that he wanted to come back.
Right.
In this period. He wouldn't have been the worst performer on the cards. But Jesus Christ, it's such an unedifying spectacle. It's absolutely nauseating. Terrible.
Liked it.
Bobby Eaton goes and gets the flag. And he does so in a way that I found I really respected, which is nothing's going on.
No.
They're all just holding onto the side, and Bobby Eaton is like, I am ending this. And he walks from one side of the scaffold, gets the flag, just turns around and walks back. And he's like, that is it. Ring the fucking bell. He looks so so sort of like fucking hell. And that is something that comes up again and again in this show, is you see flashes where wrestlers are like,
It's just like, fuck this.
why can't I just fucking wrestle?
Why couldn't I have been fighting Junkyard Dog in the dark match that nobody saw?
Eric Bischoff
bloody-
introduces us to Paulie Dangerously and Arn Anderson.
Yes.
Paulie in a very nice neon tracksuit top, peak 91, enjoying that.
He looks like he's just come back from skiing.
Did you have a shell suit?
I did have a shell suit. I had it the exact same colour, and on the back it had a kind of neon, kind of possibly glow in the dark tableau of somebody skiing.
Oh,
was
skiing
lovely.
was big in the
Skiing,
90s,
yeah,
wasn't
it was
it?
good, yeah.
Not so much going skiing,
No.
but wearing clothes of other people skiing. Very big.
Flammable.
I really begged my parents to buy me one, and my mum was like, what? £100
For that?
for a tracksuit?
Very warm.
I was like, Mum, this is something I really need.
Are you living the ski life?
When I got with my dad bought exact same one. We had a big boy one and a little boy one.
And
in the early 90s, matching shell suits, we could rock that anywhere we went.
Daddy still got moves. Daddy. That is Daddy. He's your daddy.
We did have more moves than the bowler jet, I'll tell you that. But Paulie with his hair there, and his hair has been a problem over the years. It's very dry and wispy and brittle here.
Yeah.
It's always the least appealing thing of him. And every time you move
And he's
to
not
a
an
new
appealing
era,
man. He's not an appealing
not
man.
at all.
No.
Every time you move to a new era, he is the last bastion of. He's the first person that you go, his hair is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like the last person to change his hair.
Yeah.
But every time you see him, he's the epitome of the worst haircut of that era. Bald and with a ponytail. And,
Yeah.
You know, he's such bad hair.
Well, Arn's just in his underpants, so that's probably why your daughter loved him, because he looked like a baby.
He did look like a baby.
Yeah,
He's got sort of enough hair that you don't go, he's bald.
Yeah.
You sort of go, not a lot of hair.
No,
Nice.
but the hair still maintains. It's still kind of,
It looks a little bit like it had been tinted.
Yeah.
Very
he's
much
sort of
a-
going, he's seen Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's like, well, if he can fucking do it, and this is on the way out.
I think he's obviously, it's also Flair going, isn't it?
Yes.
And you go, it's like Logan's Run. I've got to look young.
It's like I've said
Give me
before.
the lemon juice.
It's Creed from The Office. He dyes his hair with printer toner, and he goes, and he keeps on drinking Red Bull.
Sometimes a guy's got to ride the bull. Am I right?
He has the line. There are lines that are just wrong in wrestling, and so he kind of goes. He's talking about Rick Steiner. He says, "If you had your way, you'd knock me out and have your way with Paulie." Wrong.
Yeah.
He says,
Steiner, if you had things your way, it would be to knock me out and then have your way with Paulie. Wrong.
"Have your way."
Have your way.
Have your way is a weird thing.
Sex,
It's your
innit?
part.
It's sex, innit?
It is, and it's a weird thing where I kind of go, is Arn setting that up? Is this like a tragic foreshadowing? Because that's what happens in the match. He does get knocked out. Is he foreshadowing that? But is he also within it going, this is like a sissy man that I am stuck with?
Oh,
so
right,
he's
okay,
going,
yeah.
your idea is you'll knock me out, then have your way with
because
the
you're
sissy
with my
man. Because he won't
with
be able
my
to do a
prison
thing.
product.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah,
So I
that's
sort of listened to it all. I was going, that's sort of deep. And then I thought, maybe it's just possible it was just like a fluke, because the next bit he does is he gets really into difficulty speaking. So he goes, now tonight you lock us up like criminal circumstances. Criminals what will be. You want to be, you give us a license to steal, then steal we're going to do.
So now, tonight, you lock us up under criminal circumstances. Criminals what we'll be. You give us a license to steal we're gonna do, and you want to.
It's odd to see Arn Anderson fuck it up.
Yeah,
You know?
he's usually he's in a tighty white. He's
so dependable.
It's gonna be-
And he also probably knows he's only got to work for a minute and a half in the main event tonight. The fact that's the main event, Pete. You will not believe.
incredible.
Right, match number 2. Diamond Stud with DDP versus the Z-Man. Diamond Stud and DDP, out they come, 2 of what would become the biggest stars of the 90s. Right in the early days where they looked like the least likely couple to become big stars of the 90s.
I just look at Paige and I sort of go, yeah, Mike, look at how amazing Stud looks.
Yeah.
And he must be thinking, I'm not going to take off my shell suit. Look at him. He looks
he's
fucking amazing.
He's given himself that thing as well. But he's come out with a bum bag and it's got DDP written on the bum bag.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, my heart breaks for him, because I like the fact that he's, in the days before this, he's got the pay-per-view coming up. Can I get DDP put on like a bum bag, and I can wear the bum bag?
Yeah.
And he'll have taken that to a shop and they'll have stuck it on with some, and they'll have said to him, that's $40. And he'll have gone, that's expensive. I am wearing it on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And he's put a bum bag with like kids' craft saying DDP on it.
Fuzzy
And
felt.
it broke my little heart.
Those little pens that were like 3D that you'd drawn a jumper.
Those raised glitter pens.
Yes.
But then Diamond Stud, when he turns round, he's got fucking stud written on his trunk, like in pen.
Yeah.
It's just in pen, and it's not like a thick pen.
No.
It's just like spidery. When you start and you go, it's got to be big, and you've got the first one, you kind of go, that actually could be bigger on the T. And the T's a bit bigger. And then you're like, running out of room for the D. And it looks like that sort of spidery and really sort of like, I should have gone wider there because that's quite narrow and big now. It looks like a witch has written on his bum. I absolutely, I looked at the two of them and they were being so different from how they looked. And it really made me go, I sort of find this beautiful. I just had no idea I was going to love it. I mean, for me, Diamond Dallas Page is everything with the following line, where he just shouts out as the woman peels off the trousers, not in one go, unfortunately.
No, she fucks it up.
It's Great American Bash 1991. It's not going to go to plan. No. Diamond Dallas Page shouts the phrase, "Hunkasteria is running wild, child." In the USA, he adds.
Hunkasteria is running wild, child, in the USA.
Hunkasteria is running wild, child. In the USA. He's working so hard. You get the impression that the people watching this see him exactly the same as they see Paul Heyman. They just go, who is this guy who is not one of us? Who is this horrible, overconfident, shouting arsehole? Watching Diamond Dallas Page being rubbish here, I didn't find it pathetic. I found it charming because I know he will go on to have a wonderful career. And this, you're just watching him working it out and trying everything and wanting it to happen. I found it so sweet. Tom Zenk then comes out. He's got 4 ladies.
I know, right?
In
But where'd
sparkly
they come
bras.
from? Exactly. Where's he come from?
You know what they say, Pete, don't you? Sparkly bras. The woman is a... He is sensational in this match.
Yeah.
And you suddenly realise wrestling is such a strange business where you see someone like Scott Hall and he is really not very good in this match. No. He spends his whole time doing kicks and punches and some knees and clotheslines. Jim Ross, he actually says the line, very basic, very simplistic. Very basic. But Tom Zenk is exciting every time he does a move. Yeah. He does a brilliant sort of leap into the ring as he enters and clotheslines both DDP and Scott Hall. I mean, there's a bit where he gets thrown into the front row and moves like that just did not happen at this time. Yeah. It was properly, it's just...
He was working harder than...
He really is. And it's so bizarre that wrestling is one of those businesses where you can see 2 people and you go, that's the best one at this. Yeah. And you go, yes, I agree, that is the best one at this. But he is 2 inches shorter than the one who's bad at it. Yeah. And so that man is the one I want to back. He's the 2 inches.
He flick a toothpick at the camera.
He's not getting one.
He's not getting
so
one.
We'll never know. We will never know. There's a funny bit where you sort of get the impression that Diamond Stud is not happy with it, where he does a pin. And the pin he does, he sort of puts his legs over Zenk's head and poses. And he's just sort of like, his tackles above his, Z-Man's face. Yeah. And he's not even sort of covering him at that point. And the gap is the thing that made me feel sick. Yeah. I don't know what it was about it. It's sort of if you sat on someone like Earthquake did, that was sort of bad. But for me, the gap made it look like the Diamond Stud hadn't finished his pin. And he was suddenly just going to pull the shorts to one side and his nuts would just flop down. I don't know. And so I was watching that with like horrified, bated breath. Like, the gap is the gap.
Yeah.
Why is there a gap?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Diamond Dallas Page as well. Right at the end, Tom Zenk super kicks him. Yeah. And Diamond Dallas Page has to go over the ropes. Yeah. And again, you just get the impression that no one's really let him go in the ring. And he's seen it and he thinks, I can probably do that. Yeah, probably that. And when he has a go, he bends on the rope and the rope is tighter than he thinks and he can't get anywhere.
He's already expended the energy to get onto the rope and then he's like, I need to do another leap effectively. Oh, no.
He can't do it. And he goes through the second ropes and he goes through at a fair lick. It looked amazing, but a very WCW thing as well, not worked out. About going, what would this guy's finisher be? And instead you go, just do a move that like everyone uses but doesn't usually have a pinfall end. It's just a real shame. They will end up giving him this, the Razor's Edge, as it would be known. I can't remember if it had a name. Diamond, the big diamond. Oh, Pete, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, Pete, it's match 3.
Where are you?
It's Oz versus Ron Simmons.
Yes, come on, they're still doing Oz.
There's a funny thing about the music in this show. It's always, people go out and then there's 5 seconds before their music hits and they have to stand there in silence. The other thing that happens here is they can't cut to things quick enough. So Jim Ross finishes his little bit here.
Oh, there's a beautiful minute where Jim Ross and Shivani is just looking at the camera smiling for about 4 seconds. It's just...
And as a matter of fact, let's go back up to Gary Michael Capetta and the introduction of this event at the Great American Bash.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there a second away from getting back into it because they know they have to do something.
Absolutely brilliant. Jim Ross was actually said to be very ill on the day of this show.
Oh, really?
At the time, yeah. And weirdly, it does come out. He has a really negative vibe and the whole thing. It's really unusual for him. He speaks in the same manner, but a lot of the stuff he says is really running down the things that are going on. Right. So he sort of does that very basic, very simplistic about Diamond Stud.
Yeah.
That will not be the last time he begins to say stuff that's weird. You have Oz here. There's a bit where Tony Schiavone actually goes, you can tell a great athlete, a confident athlete, by the way he walks, and that was a confident walk to the ring.
You know, they say you can tell a great athlete and a confident athlete just by the way he walks, and that was a confident strut we've seen to the ring.
And I look at that and I go, even Shivani has gone, oh shit, I called Oz a great athlete. I don't want to say that. No. Confident athlete.
Yeah.
You know, he's really sort of like backpedaling on it. They're really sort of, I mean, what an entrance though, Pete. What fucking painted backdrop.
Yeah.
That is fine until they open the door and it's just a bit of fabric.
It looks
and then the whole thing catches in the wind.
Yes, and it looks like a school play.
Doesn't it?
It looks like a school play. They're still doing Oz. Get a shot of Wizard. Accentuate the size of Oz. Why is he a bad guy?
Easy.
You're trying to sell films here, lads.
Yeah, easy.
Why is he a bad guy?
My biggest note for them is, if you don't want it to look really fucking high school, don't have an old man mask on that wobbles.
Yeah.
Because when he's walking and the mask is wobbling, it does not look good. This is got the Grand Wizard with him this time, who is played by the wrestler Kevin Sullivan.
Right.
Do you want to know what happened to the monkey?
Yes,
that we saw at Super Brawl.
Yes, I would like.
Kevin Sullivan killed it.
Oh no! How did he do it?
It was on a lead on the thing. We made lots of references to the fact it was wearing a nappy.
Yes.
It was on a lead, maybe on that show or maybe the next one, but there was only one other Oz match.
Yeah.
Either way, the monkey leapt to its death from the walkway, and the lead broke its neck. So it basically hanged itself during this gimmick.
Wow.
If a monkey hangs itself rather than be part of your gimmick, maybe your gimmick isn't working.
That's an awful story.
Kevin Sullivan tells it, and he you can see that he's like, I do have a comic version of this story, but I'm not going to do it in public. So he's very much like, yeah, the monkey jumps off the thing, neck snapped, and but I mean that whole gimmick with and I was like,
you moved on way too quick with that.
You were ready to do the 15-minute version of this, but you were like, I'm not having that out there.
Because
you become like A Gill, don't you? There are some things like, you know, you could say, if someone said to me, what happened last week, and they went, I backed my car over 4 flamingos and they all died. That finished them off with a cricket bat.
Yeah.
You go, animals. I don't know. I wouldn't laugh. But if someone did say I was involved in the death of a monkey, you'd just go, oh,
never tell that story.
They're like little people, aren't they? That's fuck, yeah. Have you told someone? Yeah, I told someone. I've been, oh, right, okay, they're investigating. No, why would they investigate?
Because it pulls into sharp focus the fact that you shouldn't have had the monkey in the first place.
Why did you have a monkey?
Why did you have a monkey?
Why did you have those 4 flamingos? Why have those flamingo? No one cares about them. Fucking birds. Birds don't count. Oh, sorry. What, you going to have a nut roast at Christmas? No? All right, sorry, your shoe's leather. There we are. But the monkey thing is disgraceful.
Yeah, disgraceful.
Now, God bless Ron Simmons. Out comes Ron Simmons, and his face is, I do not have time for this shit.
Now, get this out of the way. I'm going to do it as quickly as possible.
Oh, amazing. There's a bit where he's sort of pointing at Oz in the ring, and I presume Simmons is essentially going, do you think I got what it takes to beat this guy? You know, to the fans around the ring. And all I can imagine he's saying is just going, would you look at this.
Look at the state of this.
Look at this. Are you proud of this? Are you proud of this, mate? You proud of turning up like this? I would love that sort of shit-talking Ron Simmons. And whenever I see Ron Simmons and stuff now, I just cannot stop thinking, God, you know, the whole idea of a no-shit Simmons, I am 100% behind. When they stick him in against Oz, it is just perfection for me. Yeah. I mean, it couldn't be funnier.
He is
There's a bit where Ron Simmons does a drop toe hold. You fall to the floor with your feet either side of someone's leg, and it will, you know, it's called a drop toe hold. It takes them down. And on this, Kevin Nash has clearly never seen or heard of this before. And he goes down, and it's basically used as like a transition move. It would be like, say, a hip toss, but less than that. And he does the drop toe hold on Kevin Nash, and like Kevin Nash is like, that is my leg fucked. Absolutely fucked. And you can see Ron Simmons absolutely unsure of what's happened, whether he's like, have I just really damaged this guy? Or going, is he selling a drop toe hold.
his
Really?
quad
Yeah, his quads would later go on all the time. It'd be great if he really blames Ron Simmons for that. Simmons did a very, very serious drop toe hold on me. And,
It was like...
very simplistic offence, says JR, again, ill, beginning to
very well.
see through the facade and start becoming a truth teller.
It's very simplistic offense.
Then Jim Ross starts turning on fucking Ron Simmons, right? Because he's ill and he's got a bit mad. He's not enjoying his day. Normally he's going All-State All-American, Florida FSU, retired his jersey, #1 starter, all this nonsense. Absolutely, legitimate sporting achievements.
Yeah.
But stuff that only Jim Ross will do.
Yep.
In this one, he starts saying... Ron Simmons, he didn't get a lot of offers coming out of high school. He ended up signing, I think, with Florida. But that was before they became good. He says, what are you doing? Normally he's like, oh, he's better in other sports. And then suddenly, for some reason, with Ron Simmons, he suddenly started going, don't think he's big shit. He did get offers, but not many.
No.
And, you've heard of them, Florida, obviously, now. Back then, when Ron was doing it, not good. No, what are you fucking doing?
Had a bad day.
My favourite bit of this is then the Wizard, and I think this is going to be one of the Wizard's last appearances. Sadly,
Good. No, not good.
Not good. Never
Not
good.
Never good. Bring the Wizard back.
The Wizard, he just he's on the apron, and he's been hit by Ron Simmons at some point.
Yeah.
And he's just wandering around, and he's going to get involved, don't you? He's going to get involved. You can see the cameras on him, so the cameramen know, got to keep an eye out for the Wizard.
Yeah.
I hope at the end he doesn't throw any green dust or something. And you can see Kevin Sullivan as the Wizard just begin to sort of move.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see, as it's going on, you just see him go... fuck this. And he just walks down the steps.
Yeah.
And I really looked at that and I thought, I think they had something planned. And Kevin Sullivan's just like, I'm not sort of, I can't be
arsed.
fucking
They're too
bothered.
far away. They've not thought this out. My Oz isn't where it needs to be.
No. Oz had match at Super Brawl.
Yeah.
He's had one match against a jobber on television in the intervening month, and now he's lost to Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
That is not a brilliant career so far for the big green bastard.
It was. But I'm confused.
The WCW six-man tag team champions, the Freebirds and Bad Street versus the Young Pistols and Dustin Rhodes in an elimination match. I really, really, really enjoyed this match. I think it's one of the best ones on the entire show. What are your thoughts or feelings about these six men?
Dustin Rhodes very much leaning into the character of his daddy.
He starts doing a Dusty voice, doesn't he? Yeah.
You can tell on that, Pallies. What?
How about it, Dustin, man? You've had your game face on for weeks.
Birds, Young Pistols, natural Dustin Rhodes. It's the greatest night of my professional career. And in a six-man elimination match, baby, tonight, just a few short minutes, we're going to show you what six-man tag team elimination is all about. And you can count on that, Pallies.
All right, Jim and Tony.
He sounds like a really weird mix of his dad and his brother Cody.
Yes.
At this point, Cody wasn't, wrestling. He's a child. And he's
a fucking child.
He's a fucking child, Pete. What do you want?
Child.
What, you want a child to wrestle at Great American Bash?
Yes,
What, put him on the scaffold?
I think do it in New Japan. Get him on the scaffolding.
He just starts going, what are we going to do, daddy? And it's a real sort of like, oh my God, the people who are in that locker room must just go, have you fucking seen this? Have you fucking seen what he's doing now? This is all part of the Cuck Dusty period, and it does Cuck Dusty. I will use my vessel to enact my desires that I find really, really unappealing.
Yeah.
People have always talked about this period, about the relentless pushing of Dustin Rhodes by Dusty as Booker, and they always talk about how it's such a stain on Dusty Rhodes' character. And honestly, until I've watched this one, I think totally passed me by.
Yeah.
I really wanted Dustin Rhodes to succeed because I was a huge Dusty Rhodes fan.
Yes.
But now looking back, I just go, this is disgraceful. Who does he think he is? Donald Trump? I read the papers.
A lot of managers at this Great American Bash, Mark. What is this, the BBC?
Actually, I'm going to write that one down. I liked it. Big Daddy Dink is the manager here of the Freebirds. He comes out. The Young Pistols earlier sort of go, so I know you got with you got Big Daddy Stink. And I was like, that is pathetic.
We get 1 gone, 2 gone, then number 3, he's out of there. And look out, Fat Daddy Stink, because you're the only one left.
I think I might even call him Fat Daddy Stink.
Fat Daddy Stink.
That would be good
Lovely.
if you just sort of went, from now on, I want that to be my name. I'm going to be called Fat Daddy Stink. It's so repulsive that I actually quite like it. And he comes out like the honey monster. He's beginning to sort of look very sort of yummy mummy and not like a yummy mummy, but yummy mummy, I want my honey. Sort of thing.
Tell him about the honey, mummy.
Why would you need your mummy to serve your sugar puffs when you are easily the size of the ceiling?
Because he was a fat boy, but he was still a boy. I mean, I believe the Honey Monster, when he was making those campaigns, was aged between 3 and 4 in human years. Yeah. And look, the Pistols and the Freebirds throughout 1990 and 1991 were having some of the best matches on the cards. Just that really good combination of the speed and sort of vibrancy of the young Pistols versus the sort of like cagey veteranness of the Freebirds. The Freebirds would go over frequently, and it was just a really, really good combo. What Dusty Rhodes has noticed is, well, that could be one of the good matches on this show. So let's slot in Little Dustin, and in goes Little Dust. He knows this is going to be a good match, and it's engineered in a way that Dustin Rhodes comes out the sole survivor. Yeah. Which, again, is really unfair to everybody else who is there and working really hard. I did sort of like, left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Daddy.